Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. The wind outside the hospital moaned, dragging sheets of rain along the windows. Anika blinked slowly, the four in her arms stinging with each tiny movement. The room was so white and sterile. She half wondered if she was still alive or just floating somewhere between memory and oblivion. All she could taste was copper and grief, and the last thing she remembered before the anesthesia took hold was Devon's hand, cool, steady, wrapped around hers. He wasn't there now. Nurses glided in and out, and the TV played low, talking about some football scandal. Anika's phone was silent. Devon should have been here. Devon always said he'd be here. That was their agreement, wasn't it? After everything, after the miscarriages, the layoffs, the betrayals, the family drama, they would always show up for each other. At least, that's what he said last week, when he pressed his lips to her temple and said, "This is just a bump, baby. You're my world." But tonight, the hospital smelled of antiseptic and lies. She woke after midnight. Her throat burned. A paper cup of water waited by the bed, the only sign anyone cared she'd survived the surgery. Her left side ached, but it was the ache in her chest that kept her awake. The ache and the memory of Devon's voice, crackling in her head. She pressed the call button for the nurse, but when the door opened, it wasn't Devon who stepped inside. It was Andre, her brother, wearing a look she'd seen too many times, the look that said, something bad happened. He set down a bag of barbecue chips, grabbed her hand, and squeezed. "Where's Devon?" she whispered, trying to sound casual. Andre just looked away, jaw flexing. "He left. Said he had to handle something. Gave me your keys. I brought your things from home." Anika stared at the ceiling, her mind spinning. Handle something? What the hell could be more important than this? "Look, you need a rest," Andre said. "We'll talk in the morning." But she didn't rest. She didn't sleep. She scrolled through her phone. No missed calls from Devon. No texts. The only ping was a group chat from her sorority sisters, and she didn't reply. In the silence, she heard her own pulse and wondered, what did I miss? 3 days in the hospital. 3 days of pain, blood, check-ins, and the polite, well-practiced faces of nurses who didn't know her. Andre brought her a milkshake on day 2 and a wig on day 3. To hide the hospital hair, sis. But Devon never came. Not a call. Not a text. Not a flower. When she was discharged, Andre wheeled her to the car. It was raining again, but not as hard. The air felt thick with secrets. Her home was cold, and Devon's cologne was gone from the air. In the bathroom, a pink toothbrush was missing. In the bedroom, the picture of them in Cabo was gone from the nightstand. His clothes, gone from the closet. His sneakers, gone from the rack. He had left her, but there was a note taped to the fridge. One line, scrawled in his quick, arrogant script. "You'll be okay. Please don't call." Her chest nodded. The walls seemed to tilt. She sank to the floor, clutching the note until it crumpled in her fist. The first week at home, she lived in a trance. Andre checked in daily. Her friend Kia brought soup and gossip, but Anika barely heard it. She went through motions, showered, ate a little, watched the news. She tried calling Devon once, but it rang to voicemail. His Instagram was suddenly private. His Facebook had a new profile photo, him alone on the beach in a suit, no caption. It was Kia who finally told her the truth. Kia always did. "Girl, you know he's in Atlanta now? With that lawyer chick from Buckhead? My cousin saw them at Lennox, shopping for rings." Anika's hand shook as she picked at her soup. They were holding hands, Nika, and he looked happy. Her chest hollowed. Her stomach twisted, but no tears came. The silence grew thicker. Anika stopped answering calls, stopped eating. Andre forced her outside one day, to the tiny patch of grass behind her townhouse, and put a mug of coffee in her hand. "You gonna let him break you?" he asked, staring into the dusk. She didn't answer. He shook his head. "You've always been the strongest one. Even Mama said it. He don't get to define you, sis." Anika just stared at her own reflection in the window, wondering what kind of woman gets left after surgery, wondering if maybe she was broken after all. 2 weeks passed. A letter arrived in the mail, a court document, filed in Fulton County, Georgia, Devon filing for divorce. No explanation, no apology, just the dry language of the law. The reason, irretrievable breakdown. She pressed the paper to her chest, breathing in the sterile ink, the sharp reality. He was really gone. For days, she felt weightless, untethered. She drifted from room to room, looking for things that weren't there: his laugh, his sneakers, his warmth. At night, she dreamed of him turning away from her in a crowd, blending into the sea of strangers, unreachable. Then, one morning, something inside her snapped. She packed a suitcase, booked a ticket to Atlanta. She wanted answers, and she was done being invisible. The city was hot and mean, the July air sticking to her skin. She checked into a hotel off Peachtree, not far from where she'd heard Devin was staying. She wore her favorite wig, sunglasses, and a red dress that screamed confidence she didn't feel. She stalked his Instagram, piecing together clues: a tag photo at a rooftop bar, a blurry shot with a woman whose name she recognized from a lawsuit years ago. She waited 2 days before she found them, arm in arm, outside a courthouse. The woman was tall, light-skinned, hair perfectly straight, a wide diamond ring sparkling on her hand. Devin looked younger, thinner, as if the burden of his old life had been cut loose. Anika watched from her car, nails digging into her palm, until they vanished into a black Mercedes. She didn't confront him. She didn't need to. The truth was plain. He was starting a new life, and she wasn't invited. Back at the hotel, Anika stared at herself in the mirror. Her face was leaner, sharper, older than before. She touched the scar beneath her collarbone, the one no one would see, and realized she'd been cut in more ways than one. The next day, she flew home. She texted Andre, "I'm back. I'm done." She started going outside, walking the block, talking to neighbors again. She let Kia take her out for drinks in Edgewood, let herself be surrounded by laughter and loud, loving friends. She cut her hair. She stopped checking Devin's socials. But in the back of her mind, something else was growing. Something cold, focused, and fierce. She had work to do. She wasn't just a wife, wasn't just a left-behind woman. She was Anika LaRue, and she had built more than a marriage. For weeks, Anika spent her days in her home office. She went through files, spreadsheets, plans. She made calls, quiet, serious calls to lawyers, to advisors, to people Devin never met and never cared to know. She stayed out of sight, refused every invitation, moved like a ghost. Andre worried, but she just smiled and told him, "I'm handling it." He didn't press. He trusted her. Every day, she pieced herself back together, not with hope for Devin's return, but with something sharper: the will to reclaim what was hers, to rise from the ruin. It was early September when the world shifted. News broke out of nowhere. A local tech company called Novatech was being acquired by an anonymous investor. The business press buzzed, trying to figure out who it was, how much it was worth. But no one knew. Devin, meanwhile, was all over Atlanta's social scene, parading his new wife, boasting about a startup he was launching. Anika heard through Kia's cousin that Devin was leveraging every dollar, buying cars, hosting parties, living loud. She watched quietly, patiently, never saying a word. She let him spend, let him brag, let him believe he'd won. But Anika wasn't idle. She was closing doors, cutting ties, transferring assets, moving money. She let Devin think she was lost, depressed, defeated. She played the role so well that even Andre was worried. But behind closed doors, she was negotiating. She was planning. There were phone calls to lawyers in New York, to a financial manager in Houston, to a venture capitalist in Oakland. Her tone was precise, her questions sharp. "What's the timeline? What's my exposure? Who needs to sign?" Every detail mattered. The nights were the hardest. Lying in bed, she would hear echoes of Devin's voice, see flashes of his smile, his hand on her back at parties, his warmth in the dark. But she forced herself to remember the hospital, the silence, the coldness in his last message. She'd built her own walls now. She'd learned to sleep alone. But she was never truly alone. Andre called every day. Kia sent memes and just checking in texts. Her mother sent Bible verses, the only way she knew how to say, "I love you. Keep going." And deep down, Anika clung to the knowledge that she was moving toward something no one else could see. 6 weeks after that hospital night, a single headline changed everything. Mystery billionaire acquires controlling shares in Novatech. New CEO shakes corporate America. The news ran everywhere. CNN, Bloomberg, Black Enterprise. Reporters scrambled to find the identity of the new owner. The figure was staggering, a $10 billion deal, the kind of number that echoes across the business world. And then, at a press conference in Midtown Atlanta, a black woman in a tailored suit took the podium, eyes steady, voice even. "Thank you for being here. My name is A.L. Jones, and as of today, I am the CEO of Novatech." In the crowd, no one recognized her as Anika LaRue. Not yet. She wore a new name, a new life, and a look that dared anyone to underestimate her. Devin saw it on TV, sitting in the crumbling condo he'd rented with his new wife. The startup he'd bet everything on was collapsing. The investors had pulled out, the market had soured, and the bills were piling up. He watched, numb, as the woman he thought he'd left behind walked across the screen like a ghost come to collect a debt. He called. The number was disconnected. He sent an email. It bounced back. He tried reaching out through Kia, through Andre, through her mother. No one would give him a way in. He was outside, looking in, and the world had moved on without him. Anika, meanwhile, built something new. Her team was sharp, diverse, loyal. She brought in women from Spelman, coders from the West End, designers from Oakland. She worked long nights, led with vision, and never once looked back. She didn't need to. She'd taken the company, the power, the future, and she left Devin exactly where he'd left her, alone, broke, and unworthy of explanation. Her scars healed. Her heart beat steady. And every time she walked through the office doors, the city buzzed with her name. She was no longer someone's wife. She was the storm. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.